It's about to go down.
It's the Larry W. Robinson Show. Filled with talk and inspirations, spotlighting gospel sensation. Larry W. Robinson Show. Motivation and inspiration for your eternal destination. Larry W. Robinson Show. Let's talk about it. It's the Larry W. Robinson Show.
Welcome to today's conversation. I'm your host, Larry W. Robinson, and this is another episode of the Larry W. Robinson Show. I literally slept 100 miles a minute to have this conversation today because I think it is a much needed topic, especially for churches that want to grow their outreach and do great things for God. We're going to help you do that today. We're going to discuss 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. You know, we're always trying to reach new people and spread the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, today we're going to give you some keys and some strategies to do just that. My guest today is Candy A. Price. She is the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing Strategist and Branding Coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. You can visit her online at yourprdiva.com, and she has all kinds of wonderful resources to be a tremendous blessing to you. So connect with her today at yourprdiva.com. Candy A. Price, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine, Larry. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I love your content. You know, we're connected on Google Plus, which is like MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn on steroids. So I love your content, and I was so excited to have you on the conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. So today we want to discuss 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. You know, pastors and the evangelistic coordinator at a ministry is always looking for creative ways to grow their outreach. And so you recently posted an article with the same topic, 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach ministry. And so I wanted to share some of that content with my audience today. Listen, what's key number 1 that will be a tremendous blessing to help a church grow their outreach?
Well, the first thing I advise people is to, first of all, have a marketing, PR, and social media plan. Because, you know, a lot of us know about social media, you know, some of us not so great, but the idea is that if you're going to implement a plan, you have to write it down. And so I encourage them to create a marketing, PR, social media plan that includes a proper analysis of their organizational structure of the church. Mm-hmm. And so what that means is, you know, you have to decide what kind of church do we have? Do we have a church or ministry that's geared towards the community more so? Our ministries that are already in our church? All of those things, you have to write them down so that when you're ready to target your audience, you know clearly what your message is going to be. And so what I encourage them to do is do a SWOT profile, and that means you're going to analyze your strengths, you're analyzing your weaknesses, what opportunities you have in the community, what threats there are. All of those things are going to help you determine what your goals and your strategies and your objectives are going to be. Mm-hmm. And then you go into how you're going to actually implement them into your plan.
That's cool.
So I encourage churches and ministries, if you don't know how to do this, I encourage you to get someone who's qualified, a PR or marketing professional, to help you see what that plan looks like, how you pull it together. You can't operate without a plan. We have the Bible, and what we say, it's our BIBLE, our basic instructions before we leave earth. It's our plan. It's what we are supposed to do according to the Word of God, how we're supposed to live out our lives. And so everything that you do, you have to plan first. So that's the first thing, is to create a marketing, PR, and social media plan so that you know where you're headed.
You know what, and part of that you were saying is to find out what your church is about, your strengths and your weaknesses. You know what, I was in a conference not long ago, and they said something I thought was so key that churches need to understand, that every church has a culture in that local assembly, even though you're preaching Jesus and the gospel of salvation. But every church, and you know, put it in a southern kind of way, every church has a certain flavor. And I may not adapt, or your flavor may not necessarily be what I'm looking for, or something that I like. Unfortunately, people say you ought to just come and just come for Jesus. Well, yeah, I come for Jesus, but every church has their distinct culture, a distinct way they do things, and it may not, here's the word I was looking for, resonate with someone else. How can a church accept that fact and then strategize and reach the people that their culture will actually resonate with?
Well, if you don't realize what you just said, if you don't really understand that, you're kind of hitting and missing. So it's very, very important to understand what your culture is. There are churches that are top heavy, and when I say top heavy, that means the man of God who's at the top is pretty much the personality. Okay, and everything kind of flows around that personality. There are churches that are actually community-based. Everything they do is about the community. There are churches that are family-oriented churches, where the church itself might be made up of families. It might be 7 or 8 of them. It might be even smaller than that. But if you don't understand the culture of your church, then how can you expect everybody to want to come in there? And I always say this: people are going to be where ultimately, hopefully, where God wants them. Okay, and that means that my personality or the gifts that God has given me might not work well in your church.
Right.
Okay, and so it's important for us. That's why we have so many churches.
Right.
If we were all supposed to be in one big church, we would be.
Right.
But that's why we have those. And when you understand what that is for your church, then you can better sell. And I use that word lightly because I'm not, we're really not selling anything but the gospel. But when it's better for you to sell who your church is. If you know what your church stands for, what the culture is, then you can articulate that. And when you go to PR, marketing, and social media, then you can craft messages that are appropriate for your church.
That's good. That's good. Talking today with Candy A. Price, the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing and Strategist and Brand Coach over at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Visit her on the web at yourprdiva.com. We're talking about 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. That was just the tip of the iceberg. When we come back from the break, we'll have so much more just for you. Stay tuned.
Hey, yo!
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
Here we go!
Hey, listen.
To everyone.
Just listen. Listen.
Hey,
Nobody tell it like me. Ain't nobody say it like me. You don't know the story like me.
Testimony is the chart-topping hit by Anthony Brown and Group Therapy. The self-titled CD featuring Testimony is available in stores and online right now. Get your copy of Anthony Brown and Group Therapy today.
Praise and worship leaders, join us this Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Praise and Worship Leaders Roundtable. Join worship leaders from around the nation to share insights to enhance, encourage, and educate worship leaders. You can text your questions to 337-214-4046 and then watch live at worshipleadersroundtable.com.
turn his up.
You're listening to The Larry W. Robinson Show.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Today we're discussing 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. My guest today is Candy A. Price. She is the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing Strategist as well as Brand Coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Visit her on the web at yourprdiva.com. Our discussion is based off a recent article she released on her blog, 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. Of course, at number 1, we basically talked about create a marketing, PR, and social media plan. Habakkuk says, write the vision and make it plain. Candy, what's key number 2 that will help our churches today grow their outreach?
Key number 2 is creating a team of individuals that's going to implement that plan.
Right.
Okay, it's important for this team to have writing, technological, social media skills. If they don't, then that's what I say. Get a professional to help assist with the strategy and evaluation methods that need to take place. But you have to have a team because one person cannot do it all.
Right.
Okay, and so what I did when I did it for our church is, I'm at the top as the person who pulls everything together, but I have people that represent the ministries of the church, different ministries.
Right.
They go and they gather the information from the ministries. What do you guys got going on? How can we promote that? So we're all working in tandem. We're all working together. Then I have people that are supposed to post. They post to social media. They stay on the message. They stay on the target. We all come together. We talk about what's working, what's not working. We have one person who's just set aside just to look at the analytics.
Wow.
So they go behind the scene and they figure out, are we posting at the right time? Are we posting when our audience is online? Those kinds of things are important. And so we come together and we pull all those pieces together. You have to have a team.
Even when Jesus was getting ready to take over the world, basically, he found him a team of 12.
Most definitely. And he is our great example, right?
Right. And you know what? I said this before on a recent broadcast. And Jesus didn't go into the land of the unemployed to find his team. He actually went to gather people that were actually doing something. How important is it for the leader of the organization to actually go and handpick people or have people volunteer based on strategic skills and insights that they possess?
Well, it's not easy. Okay, I will say that from the door. It is not easy, but if you are the person who's in charge of this, you have to understand that everybody's going to have strengths and everybody's going to have weaknesses. And you're going to have to understand that there are going to be times when you're going to have to tweak it, where if this person is not working out right, then either there's plenty of times where I've had to go in there and do it myself, but because it has to get done. But then and we're realizing that as a team of individuals on a church ministry, most of us are volunteer.
Right.
So you have to take into account that there are people that are going to be on vacation. There are people that have other things going on in their lives. And so when there's going to be a break of somebody not doing what they're supposed to be doing, the person at the top has to take it. Okay, they have to do it. But get people that, number one, when we're talking about PR marketing and social media, you have to have certain skills. It can't just be Bebe because you love her, okay? It has to be someone who you see, if it's in their professional career, that they have good writing skills, that they have good time management skills, that they know social media. And if not, then you have to be willing to get the training for them.
You know what? When we come back from the break, let's zone in specifically on social media, because back in the day we used to go do door hangers, put ads in the newspaper, spend thousands of our resource and our dollars on advertisement on TV, et cetera, et cetera. But let's talk about social media and how really you can get a tribe in your own church to connect on social media and grow it as well. We'll talk about that and much, much more when we come back right after this.
Hey, yo!
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
The national digital release CD of Dr. Larry D. Reed and the Breakthrough Singers entitled Work Me Over, featuring the hit radio single Better Than Ever, is now available wherever music is sold.
Now available, Get Up and Get Over It. Tips, ideas, and strategies to live your life to the fullest. A new book by Larry W. Robinson. Using his accumulated knowledge of the human heart, Larry W. Robinson has written an inspiring, positive book that will help push you to lift up over your challenging circumstances and raise your aspirations to the sky.
I'm Donald from New Jersey. I was challenged with moving on from the past, but Larry's book inspired me to let go of the past and look towards a brighter future.
If life has thrown you a curveball and you feel like you can't Get Up and Get Over It is for you. Get your copy in Amazon.com or www.larrywrobinson.com. That's www.larrywrobinson.com.
Turn his up.
You're listening to The Larry W. Robinson Show.
Welcome back to the Larry W. Robinson Show. I'm your host, Larry W. Robinson. My guest today is Candy A. Price. We've been talking or discussing 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. Now, Candy is the chief PR and marketing strategist and brand coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Please visit her website at and that's YOUR, yourprdiva.com. Now, of course, we've been talking about creating a plan, then picking your individuals to help you on the team. And now I want to talk about this, Candy, because churches have literally spent thousands and thousands of dollars on newspaper ads and radio ads, which all of that's important because people still read the newspaper and they still listen to the radio, and of course they still watch TV. But the largest gathering of people in the world, literally billions, are all on social media, especially Facebook. And then the upcoming social media platform is Google+. But how important is it to really study and this is the most important thing, Candy, to be social on social media, not always so preachy, but social.
It's very important. And, on our Facebook page for our church, we have a little bit of an advantage because a lot of people know about our church.
Okay.
16th Street Baptist Church is globally, it's known for the 1963 bombing that killed 4 little girls. And so it's a massive, we get thousands and thousands of visitors each year. But even with that said, what we try to do is we try to show our church as a thriving ministry. We try to engage our audience with videos. It's amazing to look at the content and see which one gets the most engagement. But videos and photos get great engagement on social media. Churches have to understand that you have to go where the audience is. And the audience now, just like you said, is on social media. Everybody is there. And unfortunately, we have a lot of churches and ministries. Our pastors may be older, don't really understand it, and so they might not see the benefit of it. But I encourage those that know and are engaged in social media to push that. We have to have a presence. Why? Number one, it's free.
Right.
and just like you said, everybody is on it. There's millions and millions of people on social media. How can we use it to get the message? The message is that Jesus Christ lives, he reigns, he's coming back again. Right. And so if that's the message, why not use every opportunity to promote that message? And to do that through a church is setting up a page and, like you said, getting the congregation involved. Most of the congregation is already on social media, and they will become your brand ambassadors. I love that word because they will let everyone else know how great their church is. Right. Okay, it's just like a marketing principle is if somebody has found something good, they're going to tell 10 people at least. And especially if it's bad, they're going to tell 10 more people. Okay, so word of mouth, it takes on like a rapid fire with social media. Okay, last year we had the 50th anniversary of the bombing, and it was a national thing. I mean, we had some key players come to the event, and so we set up a campaign just for that. We live tweeted that day. We pushed all of that traffic to our website. That morning, I just posted a simple picture of the carnage of the site, and underneath it, it had a love that forgives. It got over 5,000 hits. Okay? Wow. And so this is the kind of thing that people will connect with you. You don't have to really hard sell. Okay? What you have to do is just present your church in a light that this is the place you want to be because we're doing this, we're in a community, we've got VBS, we've got all these things. They want to be connected to you. And so with social media, it's not about a hard sell, it's all about engagement. It's all about having a relationship with your audience.
You know what, briefly, let's talk about using social media in the midst of services, like when the pastor is preaching, to take a moment to tell the listening audience. That's one of the ways to keep them engaged. Say, hey, put this on Twitter real quick. God will do whatever. Just having those types of moments where, especially the young people, they're on their phones anyway.
They really are.
Right.
And I don't think it's something that we can control. And so if it's not something that we can control, we need to just let it flow. For our church, we don't promote that they're live tweeting during service, but we know they are. Right. And so when we have announcements, we make sure we tell them, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We push that because we want the engagement. We want our visitors that when they leave, not to just forget that you were there, but come back and talk to us. Tell us what you thought about the church service.
Good or bad, right? Good or bad. Yeah.
Exactly. Because if you came to our church and an usher was ugly, we need to know that.
Right. Hey, I went to a ministry and they prided themselves, and I thought it was one of the, well, I'm not going to say dumbest things, but they prided themselves on the fact that they bought some type of equipment that actually shut people's phones down during the service. So you can't tweet, get a text, and all that. And my thought was, and you think that's wise? First of all, you're going to tick people off. They can't get on their phones while in the service. They can't receive a call or a text. What if there's an emergency that happens and they're trying to reach them? It was so many things.
And not only that, a lot of us use our Bibles on our phones.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Talking today with Candy A. Price. She is actually the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing Strategist, as well as brand coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Visit her on the web at yourprdiva.com. We're not finished. We have one last key. And if you do all of this and miss this last key, it will be to your detriment. So we're going to talk about that last key when we come back right after this.
Hey, yo!
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
Here we go!
Hey, listen.
To everyone.
Just listen.
Ain't nobody tell it like me. Ain't nobody say it like me. You don't know the story like me.
Testimony is the chart-topping hit by Anthony Brown and Group Therapy. The self-titled CD featuring Testimony. It's available in stores and online right now. Get your copy of Anthony Brown and Group Therapy today.
Praise and worship leaders, join us this Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Praise and Worship Leaders Roundtable. Join worship leaders from around the nation to share insights to enhance, encourage, and educate worship leaders. You can text your questions to 337-214-4046 and then watch live at worshipleadersroundtable.com. Welcome back to the broadcast. We've been talking today with Candy A. Price. She's the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing Strategist, as well as branding coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Visit her on the web at yourprdiva.com. Now, we've been talking let me tell you what DIVA stands for. Divinely Inspired Vessel of Action. So she is your PR diva, a divinely inspired vessel of action. And we're talking about 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. We've been talking about, of course, social media and gathering a team, as well as having a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're missing half the battle. Now, this final key, I think, is so important because people do a whole bunch of stuff and they have a whole bunch of action, but they don't come back and do this final key, and you just have chaos after a while. What is the final key of pulling it all together, Candy?
The final key is evaluation. You have to evaluate. You've got to know what's working. You've got to know what's not working. Okay? Monitor your website and your social media analytics so that you can see, are we posting at the right time? What kind of messages are getting the most engagement? Maybe we need to do more of those. Okay? So consider doing in-church surveys. Finding out what your people are thinking about your process, about your plan, and what you've implemented. Make sure you're posting at the right times, and that it's the times when your audience participation is high. Okay? And tweak that. Go back and tweak that. Tweak any area of your plan that's not working, and then keep doing it, though, every so often, every other month or so. Go back and keep analyzing so that you can keep tweaking and you can have a perfect or close to perfect plan in place.
Right. And then, a lot of people I think it's cumbersome because there's a lot to do. But how important is it to not be afraid of, like when MySpace was here, we had people fighting against MySpace. And then, of course, they finally came on board. And then, of course, when Facebook opened its doors just from college students to everybody, people kind of fought Facebook, but now everybody named mama and grandmother is on Facebook. And I'm seeing a wonderful opportunity with Google, Candy. Google owns Google Plus as well as YouTube. And so they're actually merging those two platforms together with Google Hangouts and a whole bunch of other Google products. But Google Plus is literally like Twitter and Facebook and even MySpace, all that wrapped into one. And that's how we've connected on Google Plus.
Google.
Have you seen like an advantage of being on Google Plus?
I have, because Google owns it. It's more likely that your content will be appreciated on the search engine optimization.
Right.
Okay. Your stuff will go higher in search rankings because you're using their product.
Right.
So it's almost like a no-brainer.
Right.
There's also a thing for people who do blogs and that kind of thing. You can sign up as a Google Plus author. And when you sign up as a Google Plus author, your blog content, when someone searches for your name, that Google Plus thing goes right up to the top.
Right.
So that's another way. But here's the thing about social media, and you say people fighting against things. We always trying to fight something when it first comes out because it's new.
Right.
And so we're very wary of things, especially as Christians. But it always reminds me of that story when Joseph said, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. And so if there's going to be evil everywhere because we're still in this world. But we have to understand that for the kingdom, those things that we can make advantages in, then we need to take advantage of them. This is a free opportunity for you. So why would you not evaluate and see how can this benefit me, because ultimately I'm benefiting the kingdom.
Right. And he calls us to rule and reign on all spheres of influence. There's seven spheres of influence in this world, and he's calling the kingdom or his children to be the leaders in those spheres. So
most definitely.
I think it's important that we do take advantage of those opportunities. Talking today with Candy A. Price. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I certainly have. Very enlightening. 4 key ways churches can grow their outreach. Now, touch bases or connect with Candy A. Price today. Once again, she is the CEO and Chief PR and Marketing Strategist, as well as Branding Coach at Priceless PR and Marketing Consulting. Visit her on the web today at and that's YOUR, yourprdiva.com. That's www.yourprdiva.com. Candy A. Price, thank you so very much for joining me on the conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it. I love your work and hope to be working with you soon.
Sounds like a plan. God bless you, my friend. Stay tuned. God bless. There is much, much, much more to come. Stay tuned to this station.
Hey, yo!
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Stay tuned for the Larry W. Robinson Show.
The national digital release CD of Dr. Larry D. Reed and the Breakthrough Singers entitled Work Me Over, featuring the hit radio single Better Than Ever, is now available wherever music is sold.
Now available, Get Up and Get Over It. Tips, ideas, and strategies to live your life to the fullest. A new book by Larry W. Robinson. Using his accumulated knowledge of the human heart, Larry W. Robinson has written an inspiring, positive book that will help push you to lift up over your challenging circumstances and raise your aspirations to the sky.
I'm Donald from New Jersey. I was challenged with moving on from the past, but Larry's book inspired me to let go of the past and look towards a brighter future.
If life has thrown you a curveball and you feel like you can't Get Up and Get Over It is for you. Get your copy in Amazon.com or www.larrywrobinson.com. That's www.larrywrobinson.com.
Hi, this is Larry W. Robinson. Thank you so very much for tuning in to today's broadcast. Take a moment to visit my website, LarryWRobinson.com. Again, thank you for tuning in to this conversation, and thank you for listening to this station. Be blessed.